Hey guys, welcome to week 19. I hope it finds you well, just as always. Um, Decided I would make my video a little earlier in the day, try and avoid those police sirens like last time. So I guess we'll see how this goes. Um, Alright, so as of this morning, I weigh 333 pounds plus like 2/10 of a pound, but you know, that part can kind of vary. So still progressing slowly on my weight loss. I was just looking at the graph that I keep going, and realized like in the last 4 weeks, there's probably been approximately the difference of 1 to 2 pounds per week, which I think is interesting because from the perspective of like when they talk about what weight loss you can expect from bariatric surgery, most of the places that talk about it say that the patient should expect to see somewhere around 2 pounds per week on average over the entirety of the time that they're losing weight. Now, typically with bariatric patients, the vast majority of that weight happens in the first 3 to 6 months. But over the course of time between when you have the surgery and when you hit your goal weight, it typically averages out to 2 pounds per week, which was actually one of the reasons why I hesitated to have surgery, because a successful weight loss program through diet and exercise without surgery, 2 pounds per week is approximately what you should expect to see. And I definitely successfully maintained a pattern like that before. So I'm starting to wonder if maybe just because of how I prepared for surgery and how I managed my life before I even started the bariatric program, that it might just be that my personal body has already gone through the adaptation. And so I'm sitting at that average now, instead of averaging it out over the entire time with a heavy load to the beginning. And I guess like in a certain way, it's also good to see that happening, because imagine, being 8 months out when, people have lost most of their overweight pounds. They usually see such a small amount of change after that point that I see a lot of people getting discouraged, and a lot of people feeling like, oh, maybe I need another surgery. Maybe I need to do a bunch of different things. But like the reality of it is they don't need to do those things. They just need to be more patient, because they've been used to seeing these huge drops, and now they're getting down to more normal patterns of weight loss. So I'm trying, I guess what I'm ultimately saying is I'm trying to reframe the information about my current situation so that I don't feel like shit about it. Some people might say that's a coping mechanism and dishonest. Others might say, like, if you could successfully do that, you would have already done that and you wouldn't have needed surgery. I don't know, but like I think from like a mental health perspective, it's really important. Um, I speak about mental health, and I've been doing that a lot lately, and I think it's because not only was that one of my biggest concerns having surgery, but it's also becoming one of my biggest concerns after surgery. So, it's not that I regret the decision. I I'm happy for the most part with how things have changed. Um, but as I was, having another discussion with my therapist, and I think we're really starting to, for the first time in a while, uh, address a real conflict that's happening. My my tendency towards eating disorder behavior, um, which had been lying dormant for a while, like we're talking, at least 2-3 years, I didn't struggle with binging, and um, I had limited purging situations and stuff, and for the last 2 years it was really stable. Um, so now I find like that, like I was saying last time, like the watching yourself develop more of an issue and almost feeling like you can't control it even though you can recognize it. It's really strange. Um, I know that there's something going on in my brain. And I'm trying to make sure I keep it in check. Right now, it's just basically an argument between the anxiety eating disorder side of my brain um, and the logical side of my brain. And the logical brain is winning right now, even though there's a lot of discomfort that comes with that. Um, to explain what I mean, um, I go through periods of time, and it's becoming much more frequent now, where just for whatever reason, I hate eating. Putting food in my mouth makes me feel sick. I feel guilty about eating, even if it's like something that I really needed to do. Like I can tell when my blood sugar is low, um, or when I don't feel well, and I know it's because I haven't eaten in 16 hours. But then like my eating disorder brain will take over and say, well, you don't need to eat. Look in the mirror, um, or as I was telling him, I say, I track my calories, I count them, I count my macros, make sure I get protein, and make sure I get all this stuff. But one of the problems with that is that it keeps a running tab on where you are. And when you are sitting there trying to battle with yourself to make sure you continue eating, um, I'm finding that I'm having like panic attacks when my overall intake for the day hits about 800. Like that's 800 calories a day. I know from an educational standpoint, from everything that I know, like 800 calories is not a dangerous level in the sense of you're not going to gain weight when you're eating 800 calories a day. You're not gonna, but you're also not gonna get your nutrients. You're not gonna have enough energy. So I usually get to that point around midday because the early part of my day, I typically have like a yogurt. Um, so I'll have a yogurt and maybe some string cheese. And by the time I get to lunch, depending on how I've handled that, like lunch might be a small salad and 16 ounces of milk that I drink over the course of a couple of hours. Um, but what I find is things like I drink the milk, I'll drink skim. 16 ounces of skim is 160 calories. It's not bad. It also comes with 16 grams of protein. Also not bad. What freaks me out is that bottle of milk has 22 grams of natural occurring sugars, and I start feeling very convicted and very guilty about the fact that my sugars and my carbohydrates for the day, like my goal for those is 50 grams. So the fact that half of that 50 is taken up by the fact that I decide to drink milk today, like it makes me feel paranoid. It makes me feel anxious and almost shameful. Like, I'll say, why did I have a thing of milk again today? Like, I don't understand why I keep drinking milk. But like, that's that part of my brain that's saying, like, you don't need food, you don't need calories, you don't need to do this. My logical side of my brain says this is a very valuable drink, and a lot of people are lactose intolerant after surgery. So the fact that I could just drink straight up milk is a really good thing. So I've been struggling a lot with that this week, I guess you could say. I had at least one day where I was eating the salad that I get at lunch, which, just, easy description is like raw spinach, cut avocado, mushrooms, some olives, maybe some cottage cheese, and a bit of like dressing for the flavor. It's like a 5-ounce salad, typically. And I had a day this past week where I was eating the salad and I had a panic attack. Like, I was literally sitting there at my desk at work going, why the fuck am I eating a salad right now? I don't need a salad. Why am I eating right now? Like, and luckily I have immediate release medications for panic attacks. So I was able to manage it, but it's a concerning factor. Like, it's something that, it's been so long since I've had to battle those things that it's very difficult to remember that, like, like the eating disorder stuff is not in the past. That's my life. And, I have to take care of myself. Anyway, then I know I keep talking about it, but it's gonna end up being part of like the freeform topics for a while, because until I figure out how to manage that effectively, I want to chronicle the development, I guess, in the just in case that somebody watches this series and is having those same kind of things happening, like that they can recognize in themselves that it's time to get help. Other news, for the first time since I was in probably high school, I bought a piece of clothing from Target. I know some people are like, oh wow, really? Woohoo. But I am almost overwhelmed by the fact that not only have I been reducing the sizes in like my big and tall women's clothing places, which, they suck, but the fact that I could go to Target, pick some things off the rack, go into the dressing room and try them on and not rip them, not get stuck, like even sit there and go, I think this one's a little big. Like, it's so crazy. I know that I am changing. I know based on comments, I know based on the scale, I know based on just the clothing that I can and can't wear. I wish my brain would catch up and feel happier about it, I guess. Anyway, I am looking forward to a better week this week. I've got a concert coming up. I've got friends to hang out with. I feel like there's some really good developments in my personal life right now. And I'm really hoping that the whole ball of what is ultimately positive change and positive anxiety will ultimately drive me to feeling significantly happier and more successful. Anyway, I guess I'm going to sign off for the day. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or whatever, feel free to leave them either here or on the Facebook page. So I guess I'll talk to you guys next week. Take care of yourselves. Bye.